everyone. So thank you so much at short notice for joining us for this webinar. And we've put together a series so far of 5 short webinars, and there will be more. We promised back in December that we will be running a load of webinars for you, but as you saw from the email that went out a couple of days ago, we've escalated it really quickly to try and just help everybody and support everybody as much as we can. So today's webinar is about setting quick tasks and homeworks in Frog. So really it's the ability to get out those quick bits of information, those quick snippets, to make sure that all the students that are working from home are able to get something in front of them for them to do. So very much around structuring the school day, setting tasks, getting worksheets out, and getting where necessary homeworks out to the students. So Graham, if you could just share the second screen of the PowerPoint, that'd be ace, please.
Hi everybody as well, I should say hello.
Sorry, I forgot to, yeah. Hi Graham. So you should all know myself and Graham. Graham is our solutions architect and I'm Chief Customer Officer here at Frog. But for the purpose of today, we're just here to help you. So what we're going to do is run through quick setting of homework, assignments or tasks, showing you the ability to prepare work in advance and get those out to your students. We're also going to show you not just how to set works and where they appear in the calendar alongside maybe your timetable, but also how to communicate carefully with parents where they can find their students' work so they can keep an eye on them when they're supporting homeschooling. We heard in a couple of our webinars just how important it was to embrace every teacher in school with the lowest tech ability to those who are more advanced. So we're going to today be focusing on a baseline, and then as we go through the next 4 webinars after today, then we'll get into some more advanced, going into the Markbook, using the digital tools in Frog for feedback, and then we'll look as well at how we look at the analytics around a work and who's logging into the platform and how to identify vulnerable children. But for today, it's a quick refresher of where do I find the tools I need quickly, how do I communicate those with the rest of the staff at the school, so that we've got a baseline of everybody being able to use a simple way of engaging all of the students, engaging all of the staff and all of the parents. So with that, I'm going to hand straight over to Graham, and I'll probably interrupt as we go through in normal style, Graham, but we'll start with you.
Yeah, hi everyone. So what I've done is I've got logged into our platform where I can demonstrate all of our solutions, and I've got a whole bunch of fake students in here so I can assign work and we can show you what that's going to look like. And as Lucy says, this is about sort of how to set work in the quickest way. And a couple of times I'll probably go over what I'm saying because I want to emphasize just this is about having as little impact on your staff as possible so that they're able to do what they need to do really quickly and easily. But of course, Frog's got lots and lots of extra features, and over the coming webinars, we'll be looking at all those. But what I wanted to do and wanted to mention is when you go to set a quick task in Frog, you should always have the plus button in the Frog bar at the top. So wherever you are, you can just click on there. And in this case, I'm going to create an assignment, which is our word for tasks, homework, home learning, and so on. So click there, and it opens up a new assignment wizard. This is the only bit of information I have to fill in. And when you're showing this to your staff, when they're discovering this for the first time, it's really important to emphasize that this is about low impact in terms of their workload. All they have to do is fill in the information on this screen that you can see right now, and they can send that work out. I'm going to go into it in more detail and show you what the other tabs do as well, but it is important to sort of have that in the back of your mind. So first thing I'm asked to do is set an assignment name. Now, this is going to make it easy for me to identify, and also for when I'm talking to students about it at another time, I will be able to talk about it. So I'm going to go calling this one Oxbow Lakes, a standard geography bit of work. Sorry, Lucy?
I said, of course you are.
Of course. I always go for Oxbow Lakes, which is weird because I stopped doing geography before GCSE, but it's one piece of work that's stuck in my mind. I click on the subject list and I tap G, which dumps me straight to the geography, the G's, and there I can select my geography subject. Now, This next bit is a rich text box, and this is important because we've worked with our students, we've worked with our schools over the years to make sure that assignments works the way we really want it to work. And with this being a rich text box, it allows you to say to your teachers, you can continue using whatever system you want to use. And in those instances, you'll be using Frog as a homework notification tool. And it can be as simple as that. So if this was a maths lesson and I was using my maths, I've got the hyperlink option there and I can put a link directly into it. But it means that your pupils have one place to go to get all of their work that they have to do, which, given that we're in this situation of remote learning, can become really important that they can see their structure in one place. But it is rich text, so I can do all the standard usual things. I might have something like finish your classwork, then, and pop some bullet points in. And I'm going to suggest that this is a lesson using traditional textbooks. So read chapter 4, complete the quiz on page 32. The standard sort of thing that you might have in here. But again, this is where I could have been putting hyperlinks into other third-party resources. Now, this next thing always used to be for a tool for convenience for teachers until last year. And that's when our schools have been showing us just how powerful they've found the ability to set when this assignment appears in the students' lists. By being able to say that this is work for next Tuesday, I'm not in a situation where I'm at the weekend preparing all my work for the week and dumping it all in one go on that Monday. Instead, I can have it appear day by day so that the children aren't overwhelmed on Monday morning. Instead, they see the work appearing through the week for them.
I think it's also important here to note, isn't it, Graham, that instead of setting it today, actually setting it to match the day and the timetable if you're setting quick tasks, because what you don't want is everybody accessing it at different times when the teacher's not available. Exactly. And that's the worst thing you want in a situation like this, especially if you're going to be pushing out lesson resources and things where you may well need to coach the students around it. You don't want them looking at it ahead of of the work that you've set them. Now, it picks up, I've set that for the 12th, and therefore it's set the due date for the 12th. The due date is the day it will appear in the student's assignment calendar, and it will be everything will be organized by due date in their assignment list, and I'll be showing you what that looks like in a bit. So if this was for a daily task to replace a lesson, then I would leave that due date to match the available from date. If I'm not interested in collecting that work in from the students, if I'm not wanting to report on hand-in rates, then I've got an auto-close feature here. And if I switch that on, at the end of that same day, or I could change this to be another day, we'll take it off the student's to-do list. It will just close that homework down and remove it from view. Which again, if you're concerned about overwhelming your pupils with work and having them see all these things stacking up, the auto-close feature is a really powerful tool for that. I'm going to turn it off for now. Now, in the Add People section, if this was a genuine school, if this was a real school and I was a teacher, this would actually link in and list all of my classes ready for me to select. It's not, so instead, I just put in a couple of letters to search and select my class here. Now, see that George has joined us. He showed me what he does at Greenshaw is he will actually set the work for the entire year group to complete that work. And he's not the only one. We've got lots of schools doing that too, where one member of each department will take responsibility for setting work to, say, year 10. And this homework will go off to every student in year 10 for that geography work. So you can share work really very easily. It will go into each class's Markbooks, which we'll demonstrate in a little while to you. But it is a useful way that, especially if you're setting the same work, you can do it instead of duplicating that effort, one person does it. I'll just get rid of year 10 for now. Oh, sorry, go on, Lizzie. I think one thing that is quite important here is if a teacher, if you have just sent it to one class, so year 8 geography, sorry, class 8A geography, and class 8B geography teacher becomes poorly, it's really important to note that homework is recyclable and we can share that. And I think we can, when we look at the Markbook in brief, we can show how you can access other people's work to assign that.
Yeah, it's a really powerful feature, and one of the things that came from our schools when we were designing Markbook, which was the case of they wanted that ability to share work and dive in and help with cover lessons and things. So we will make sure that we cover that today and show you what that looks like. One last thing I can do on this page is this lesson, this work may not be appropriate for every student in that class. So I've got the Convert to Individuals button. And clicking there, it breaks the class into the individuals, and I can say this work isn't appropriate for Amara or Armin or Dylan or Em or Kelly. There we go. So when I assign this work, everybody else in that class will get that message, but they won't. I can then set them separate work if I want to. So we've got that instant differentiation. Now, when I selected my class, and some of the eagle-eyed among you will have spotted, the assign button stopped being grayed out. And suddenly I was able, once I'd filled all that information in, I could hit assign. And when I do, lots of things happen. It goes into the student's assignment calendar and their regular calendar. It goes into their assignment to-do list, and it sends them a notification in Frog that it's done so. If they've got the app installed, the MyFrog app installed, it will send them a message to their device telling them, and it will put that into that MyFrog's to-do list as well. So they definitely know they've got that message. If their parents also have the MyFrog app installed, it will send them a message on MyFrog, and it will give their parents access to their student assignment calendar so they can see the assignment in there as well. So lots and lots of different things all happen just by pressing that button. But I did say I would show you the other tabs and go into it in a bit more detail. So let's do that now. If I click the next button, I'm first taken to the activities tab. Now, if you remember, I suggested that the students in their instructions should complete the quiz on page 32 of their textbook. Well, then you've got to mark that some way or other, probably from their workbooks. How about this instead? Frog's got the self-marking quiz engine, and it's really worth exploring because it's very simple to set up quizzes in there and then have Frog do all the marking for you and give you that student's end result. So I can set a quiz really very easily. The file drop is a very popular tool within assignments as an option, because within here I can do everything from collecting in Word documents and PowerPoints and any sort of file like that. But it will also work with images. And we've got some lovely stories for over the last year of students taking photos of their work that they've taken from their workbook. They've written it all down in their workbook. They've taken a photo and handed it in via either FrogSnap or MyFrog straight into their homework, ready for the teacher to mark. So converting physical to digital really easily. And of course, there's nothing stopping me stacking these activities as well. So I could have a file drop and have the student prepare a presentation all on Oxbow Lakes, but then I can go and add another activity and have them answer a quiz on it. So I've, real belt and braces here. I can make a very rich set of tasks for the students to do and get back to me. I also mentioned in those instructions, read chapter 4. Well, I've heard countless stories now from our schools about how they've been abandoning the traditional textbooks. They've been saving a fortune by not doing that and instead providing that information as PDFs. But it doesn't have to just be, here's a worksheet for you to work through, or here's something for you to print off and fill out. It could be a writing frame as a Word document. It could be a PowerPoint file. It could be a video of you giving instructions for what the tasks are to do. So you get that personal connection to your class just using the upload button here. So I can upload directly. It's the standard Frog uploader. I can just drag my files in there, and that will be attached as part of the assignment. At every stage in here, I could have hit assign and had that work go off to the students. So I can put in as much or as little detail as I want. But if I do click on the next button, I can then choose, am I going to mark that work in Frog? Now, if I'm not interested in that, that's fine. I just turn that off automatically, or turn that off there. But if I am going to mark, we've given you lots of different options. We've got the percentage system, so you can set something as a percentage, but if you're no good at doing that, if you're no good at calculating that easily, you could just set the mark that it's going to, and Frog will take care of it. But by far the most useful one, the most common use of this I've seen, is the custom mark scheme, where in here you can mark the students' work. You can set them a grade, either something like GCSE grading or a simple 3-tier gold, silver, bronze system. Quite a few schools will set an effort grade. And we've got videos and tutorials, and we can go into this in more detail if you want us to, but that all exists there. And having filled out all of this at any stage in here, I could click the assign button, and that's it. And that's what that work goes off to. Now, while that's open, I've got a separate tab where I'm logged in as a student. So this is the experience they would get when they log into Frog to collect all their work. And we've picked this tip up from lots of other schools to have a remote learning or a home learning page on the student dashboard. And when I click into it, what we've done is we've set up a mock timetable here so the students can see the structure that they're going to have for each day. And so there they can, you're replicating what they were doing in school at home. And actually, again, I'm going to mention George. His school went even further, where they were prescribing exercise times and different things that they should be doing in each day, and also emphasizing that they should be taking screen breaks and so on. We've got a case study on that, which we can share if anyone's interested. This is, if you like, a traditional timetable, what they would expect. And if I scroll down here, I'm logged in as a student called Abigail, and here's her assignment calendar being used to replicate that structure. So you can see she's got chemistry and then double English on Monday or on Tuesday. She had history and PE on Wednesday, and there's work to be done in all of these. And in any one of them, I can click onto the lesson, and I can open it up. And here, it's a very basic example, this, I will admit it, but I've got the instructions. I want Abby and her class to recreate for their local area a tube map in the style of London for their local transport links. Now, imagine if I was also attaching to this a video of me talking through it and some explanations and a bit more, and maybe some web pages for her to go off to, like Wikipedia, where she could find out that information and help recreate it for that assignment. That's the sort of thing you can do.
And I think we'll be showing that in a couple of webinars time, just really creating more engaging lessons and also going through into the Markbook in more depth and also the analytics. For now, Graham, though, now we've shown how to set a task, and we've shown how to set a task for a whole year group or for a teacher. The example I gave earlier, would you be able to just click into the Markbook and show where I find my assignments that I've created? And also, if I were a member of the SLT and I had got a problem with a member of staff that had gone sick, how do I then find all the Markbooks so I can reassign a piece of work to other year groups?
Absolutely. Now, depending how your school has got everything set up, you may well have a direct link to Markbook from your staff dashboard from when you first log in. You should also be able to find it in Quick Launch, and it's there as Markbook. And when it opens, here's on the assignment tab, and it's a list of all the assignments I've set to all the different classes that I'm teaching, all in one place, organized by due date. And I can go into any one of these, and I can see, and in this case, I've done some marking, and it's pulled in all of my children who were in that class, and I can see I've actually given some marks out there. But what Lucy's talking about, let's cancel that. What Lucy's talking about is what happens if, this is sure enough, this is my assignments, but if I'm sick and Lucy has to step in for me. Well, to do that, you can click over to the Markbooks tab, and initially it will show me my Markbooks, the ones I've created. But if I go up to View and All Markbooks, by default, this is turned on to allow you to do it. I know a couple of schools have turned off that ability to share Markbooks. It's a decision you'll have to make as a school. But in this instance, I can now see all the Markbooks I've created. And I can go into this one, created by Lucy for all of year 8 for the English subject. So this will show all year 8 pupils and their work that's been assigned to English. And if I click into it, here we go, all listed alphabetically. These are all 4 homeworks that have been assigned to them. I can see that they've had some marks done, but if I scroll down here, I can see that this one wasn't done, for instance. This symbol here was feedback from Homefirth, who, when they first saw what we were working on, said it would be really useful if we knew which students hadn't opened the homework, hadn't opened their assignment. And that's exactly what that indicator, that I indicator does. Now, we'll be going into Markbook in depth in more detail in a future webinar. But what Lucy was talking about as well was she needs to assign work for me because I'm off and my class need that work set. Or is going to take the work that I've done and assign it for her class. That's the other use. To do that, you can click on the assignment menu within the Markbook here and choose reuse assignment. And that opens up that same quick assign wizard that we were just looking at. You can take this group off and add in another group simply, and then click assign and that work will go off, and I'll just do that now. So we will take a copy of what's been done and assign it out ready for a new class. Now, obviously, I was doing that reuse without showing you. I've also always got the preview button in here, so I can actually open that assignment and see, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't have assigned it to year 9. Never mind. It's done now. I can obviously close it and hide it, but I can preview it, which can be really important. Again, if you're setting a piece of work out to your students and then you want to talk them through it and show them it as they're going to see it, that preview is a really handy option.
Now, I'm aware that we've gone over by 2 minutes. So, Graham, the last thing, so we've shown how to set a piece of work, how to structure it as if it were the school day or as an assignment. We've shown where to find the assignments or where to use it. But then really importantly is how do we communicate with parents? We showed that lovely site which had the timetable and all of the resources on it, but how do I tell my parents where to find their work? So Monday night happens and suddenly everything is going to be, parents are suddenly working from home, they're supporting their children, rather than getting this widget and that web page and this site and this frog language and stuff that I don't understand. How do I simply find, where do I click to see what's meant to be going on from home?
I'd like everyone to use their imagination right now and assume that this was the parent's view. And imagine I'm logged in still here as Abigail. I can take this same widget, the assignment calendar widget, and pop it onto the parent dashboard so that they can see that information too. And then, as Lucy says, we want to send information telling them to do so. Well, that's where messages comes in. So I'm just going to close that one down for the moment. And if I go back up to the quick launch menu and look at messages. Now, if you can't see messages, it's because the school has limited it for who's got access to it. It's still really useful. And I know a few schools who've turned it on so every member of staff can use it. We were worried that that would take over, so we set it as a default so that wouldn't be the case. But if I click into the messages now, I can send a message to anybody who's got Frog at all, anyone who's got a Frog account in your school. Obviously, you can't message people in other schools. If I click on new message, and then I can start sending something like remote learning information. And let me just, you don't want to watch me typing slowly. I prepared a message earlier on. Parents, you can find information about what your children will be working on for the upcoming week by visiting the parent portal in Frog. Now, at this point, as I said, anybody with a parent account, anybody with a Frog account, I could just search for there. But I'm going to send this to all the students. I'm going to use the students to send this message. And I'm going to send it not just to every student, but I'm going to send it to every student and their parents so that they will all get that message. Now, what's really important about this is a free message being sent from Frog to my Frog, and so there's no cost involved. Imagine you've got 6,000 user accounts, which isn't inconceivable for a large secondary. You could that starts to mount up if you're looking at SMS costs. So instead, I can send this message for free directly to my Frog. It also goes into their Frog desktop access as well. So if you have people who don't have smartphones, they can still get that message. So what I'm doing is I've selected student, but I'm going to send it to the parents as well. And then let's go to add a link and choose Frog site. And I'm going to send them directly to their parent portal. I could tell them they can actually access this via clicking on the dashboard within the My Frog app, but instead I can send them a direct link to where I've put that. Click use, and that's it. That's ready to send. I'll just click send, and that goes off. But here's the other thing. Going to receive that message either in Frog, in here, or in the My Frog app, which means we know what time we sent that message, and also did they receive it and did they read it. So here's a really poor example, one I can see here. Returning to school, 1 out of 7 people have read it. Not ideal, but at least I've got that order information. So here are all the parents this message went to. I can see that A Woods has the app installed and has read it, and they read it on that app. C McDaniel has the app installed but hasn't read it, and all of these parents don't have the app installed and haven't read the message. Not a great return for my message that I sent out. At least I can export that as a spreadsheet, give it to the school office, and then find other ways to communicate with them. So not only can we set and structure the school day for the children, but we can let their parents know that we're on top of that situation and show them how they can see what their children have to do.
Thank you, Graham. I think my phone pinged exactly as you did that, and you sent me a message, and I've got a link direct through to the parent portal. So there we go. We've shown you how to set a task, where to find a task, and a picture of Graham's cat.
Yeah.
And then obviously to keep parents in the loop, really important to be able to push those messages out. And as Graham says, it not only pops up within the My Frog app, also where you've got the messages within the browser, it will pop up in there. Now, yes, we are recording this session, so we will send that out to you afterwards. We also have links. If you go to frogeducation.com/community/training, you'll see how to set homeworks in Frog, how to use the My Frog app, how to mark in Frog. All of the webinars that we're doing, we already have all the digital first guides on the community. That said, it might be easier to reshare some of our recordings as they come along to any of your staff if you want them to. And as always, please let us know if there's something that you want to see more on, or any further training that you would like us to do, or even if we've got the day of the week wrong. We are starting out on this, so hopefully we've got it right for tonight. But thank you again for joining us. We try to keep it to the half an hour. I think we're 1 minute under, but Graham and I and Claire will stay on the chat, but the rest of you try and relax this evening. And thank you very much for joining Graham and myself. Cheers all.
Thank you.